So I thought I'd do my own tier list just for funsies. I don't think I personally know enough about the game to say anything major about a lot of these characters. I'm just going to kind of guess according to the tournaments and the results that I've seen in tournaments lately, the appearances in top 8, how consistent they are. There's going to be a number of different factors. I've got some notes here I'm going to follow just in case I have any talking points I want to go over, but for the most part, this is just going to be mostly off the top of my head, and let's see what we come up with. I only have 4 categories because I don't really think there's any need for any more than 4 categories. I'm going to have a hard time putting anybody in C tier as it is because all these characters now are just either really good or fucking exceptionally strong, and there's no point in really playing anybody else. So let's go through the list, see what we got here. We got Jack first. Jack is, he's pretty good. I don't think he's anything special. He's not been doing anything in tournaments. We've barely seen him do anything major lately. Anakin has had not that great of luck with him as of late. Joe Crush is doing okay with him, but I think he needs a few more tools to get him off the ground. There's a couple of things he could use, like some safer plus frame moves that aren't necessarily super linear either, because he's super susceptible to sidestep left, and a lot of his high-powered moves are highs that come out of his stance. Sidestep left into duck beats every single option that Gamma Howl has, so I gotta put him in B tier, I think, if I'm being honest. I don't know for sure if this is an accurate spot for him to be. He's got a 10-frame heat smash. His 10-frame punish is whatever. If you include his heat smash, he has the best 10-frame punish in the game. So there's that. I mean, his heat smash is pretty flippin' amazing. And he does have some decent lows. But he's got to be right up in your face to use them effectively. And sidestep left just fucking kills him. Man, he really, especially if he gets up in your face and you go to sidestep left, especially since homing throws are gone now, Jack's lost a lot of utility up close. So I'm thinking B tier. I think B tier is good for him to sit for now, but he isn't really a character that can do a whole lot of pressure. I mean, when it comes to other strong characters in the game, they can just lock Jack down, and there's not a whole lot he can do. He doesn't have a whole lot of get-out-of-jail-free cards. So I think Jack is a solid B tier. He's nothing super crazy special, but you can do well with him if you're really fucking good like Anakin. You just might not be top 8ing any tournaments in the condition that he's currently in. Jin is an immediate S tier. There's no fucking no comparison. Jin is ridiculous right now. Absolutely insane. How I indicate what a character is to be S tier, in the notes I have, like how they're able to dictate a match. Ease of use and lack of execution. Offense being so good that they don't require good defensive tools, but if they have both, they're a problem. Jin is all of the above, right? And risk versus reward. Well, let's see. Down 2. What's the risk versus the reward? It's long range, it tracks all around, it's a homing move, right? It completely homes in on the fucking opponent, it's ridiculous. It high crushes, so it's got evasive properties built into the attack. And on counter hit, it gives a full launch. I mean, not a full launch, you don't get a tailspin, but who gives a fuck, because the damage you get from it, you might as well have gotten a tailspin. So, down 2. A lot of utility, and guess what? It's only minus 14, so only a handful of characters can launch it. I don't know. That's right there. Sign of an amazing character. He's still got Demon Paw. He's got a 4-4-3 mid launcher. He's also got an easy mode 15 frame hop kick. Easy mode down 3+4 can kicks that are also 15 frames. He's got multiple easy launchers. He doesn't even need his electric. He doesn't even need the Hell Sweep. In fact, Jin players who use Hell Sweep, you guys are weird to me, because you got down back 4 and down 2. You place those moves, well, you never need to use Jin's Hell Sweep. You fucking just never need it at all. Those other moves are so freaking crazy good. And he's got a 14 frame launcher from while standing. He's got 13 frame punish from while standing. That's ridiculous. That stupid ass string that lasts forever. His while standing 4 got buffed into the axe kick, and then the secondary follow-up kick that is plus on hit now. Like, Jin's got that same thing that Devil Jin has, pretty much. Ridiculous. So Jin is, if you're gonna consider him a Mishima, which he's not, but let's consider him a Mishima for the sake of argument, he's the strongest Mishima right now, guaranteed. He's stronger than Reina because of her nerfs. Jin has yet to be touched by the balance patch. There's not been a single hit to Jin. He's currently sitting in S tier, and he makes top 8 performances constantly, doing very well as well. CBM makes top 8 with Jin on a regular basis, so there's already tournament information to back up what I'm saying here as well. So Jin, S tier for sure. June is, I'm gonna put June in A. She's got all the tools a character needs to be on the top of the tier list. She just doesn't have the tournament representation, and I'm wondering, is it because we just don't have a solid enough June representative yet? Like, what's the reason for that? I mean, she's got a 14-frame while standing launcher. She's got a heat smash that hits half screen. Like, she's got a lot of good tools. She has some pretty solid lows. Strings that leave her safe. Like, her hop kick can be safe. She's pretty solid. She doesn't have a standard 15-frame launcher to my knowledge, but her hop kick is 16 frames, and it's basically safe. You can make it safe. You lose a little bit of chip life, but who gives a fuck? I don't know. I think we just haven't seen a good June representative yet, but I think she's a solid A tier. You could argue S tier, but I don't think we've seen enough tournament representation to say that. So June is, to me, a solid A tier, and until we see some good tournament results, I think that's probably where she'll stay. She's pretty solid there. My boy Kazuya is debatable. I don't know where to put him right now. He's either A tier or B tier, and I don't know yet. So I'm not going to put him in B tier yet. I'm going to discuss him a little bit because this character I know like the back of my dick. But here's the thing. He just made a top 8 showcase in ECW, or ECW, the wrestling thing, EWC, Esports World Cup. So Keisuke, of course, the best Kazuya player in the world, brought Kazuya to the top 8. He came in the loser's bracket and he lost right away. So he just, unfortunate, but we have seen now for the first time, I think, in quite a while. I think he topped 8'd in another event earlier this year, but it was months ago already. Kazuya now is, thanks to the patch 1.05, in such good shape that I think you could argue he's potential A tier. Now that he's made a top 8 showcase in tournaments, there's room for us to say that this character is really, really strong now. The issue is his execution. Is he ever going to be S tier? No, because Kazuya relies far too heavily on the electric and wave dash pressure and sidestep into electric whip punish and just absolute perfect Tekken fundamentals at all times because he doesn't have any good pokes, and his sidestepping is pretty subpar, so you really have to be on point with your movement. And he doesn't really have any easy mode anything. Kazuya is all work all the time, and that's just the character. That's his design, and he doesn't appeal to a lot of people for that reason, but he appeals to people like me who main him because I like that. I don't like characters that play themselves. On a tier list, you have to factor in human error. If we were just crunching these numbers and coming up with a tier list for what character is the best in the game, Kazuya would be God tier because he's got a 13-frame electric on paper, right? He could 13-frame launch punish hop kicks if he was piloted by a robot, sure. Every time he blocked the hop kick, it would be an instant electric for full damage because robot. So that's fine. On paper, great. Kazuya's God tier. But in actual reality, Kazuya is maybe low A tier at best because he just requires far too much from the player to succeed with on a regular basis, and his risk-reward factor is very minimal. Take Kazuya's Hell Sweep versus Law's slide, for example. We're going to compare Law's slide to Kazuya's hell sweep. Law's slide is a launch punishable low that you only get a float combo from, so like 30, 40 damage tops. And while standing 3 is his other option that you could do. That's his heat engager. We'll talk about that shit later on with his slide thing. If Kazuya gets the hell sweep, he gets 31 damage into insanely good Oki. If his hell sweep is blocked, he eats a full combo for half his health. So that's not the same with Law, right? If Law's fucking slide is blocked, he eats 40 damage. If his slide hits, the opponent eats 40 damage. The risk-reward factor is higher in Law's favor for his best low than it is for Kazuya, because it's just the nature of the characters. Kazuya demands more from the player. You don't have to think as much with a character like Law. So, Kazuya, to me, I think he sits pretty good in A tier because he's got some amazing tools with the electric. Obviously, it's still a fantastic fucking move. He's got insane mids, and his 50-50 is probably the best in the game, I would say. Patch 1.05 did a lot for Kazuya, and every other character in the game too, but specifically Kazuya because he now works as a character. His hitboxes are fixed. So that's huge. He was already a possible A-tier contender had he had hitboxes in the previous iterations of Tekken 8. He was bottom tier because he barely functioned as a character, but now that he fully functions, he's pretty fucking strong. So his heat is whatever, but he's a great character in general because he's Kazuya. So you just have to have the execution. Because of that, I can't really put him higher than A tier. King, to me, is S tier, not quite as strong as Jin, but definitely S tier, because King still has the best throw game in the game, right? And now he has a wave dash. That wave dash adds so much to King. He has insane pressure. You can wave dash into launching mid. You can wave dash into damaging safe mid, like 4-4-2. That homes. It's a homing move, and it's a fucking safe mid, right? It's a knockdown as well, so it wall splats. It's a crazy good move. 4-4-2 is fantastic. On top of that, he's got his entire throw game that you can do from a wave dash. People can wave dash into Giant Swing. They can wave dash into Shining Wizard. You know, it's crazy. So, because King has that now, it gives his throw game more utility, despite homing throws no longer being a thing. Homing throws being eliminated hurts King a lot, but his wave dash being added helps King a fuck ton. If he had his wave dash and homing throws were still in the game, King would be probably the best character in the game. But he's got a perfect throw game, he's got super strong mids, he's got really good lows, he's got Jaguar steps still. He has insanely good punishment. I mean, from while standing, he's got while standing 4 at 11 frames, at 14 frames, he's got while standing 2-2, he's got hop kick at 15 frames. And, I mean, the standing punishment is even better, you could argue. So, King is just, all in all, on top of that, he's a great counter-hit character because of down forward 2. His counter-hit game is arguably better than Steve's, and Steve is supposed to be the personified counter-hit character in this game. That's his archetype. That's the archetype that Steve is supposed to represent, but King has a better counter-hit game than Steve does because down forward 2 is a mid, and you can hit confirm it. Back 1, you have to commit to either hitting back 1 and going into stance, or doing back 1 and you know, going with the combo after that if it connects. But with King, you could just throw it down forward 2 all fucking day, no commitment whatsoever until it hits, and then all of a sudden, oh, you see it hits, oh, it's a counter hit, oh, boom, hit confirm that shit, boom, down forward 2-1 into immediate combo for crazy damage. King's got a better counter hit game than Steve. You could even argue that Lee is the only character in the game with slightly better counter hit game than King, but those two are comparable as well. So, King S tier, easily, for me. No fucking question about it. He hasn't been represented very heavily at tournaments. Granted, that's understandable. We haven't seen a whole lot of King in tournaments in the top 8s. But Lil Majin hasn't really been competing. So he's still training. He's still doing his thing. We'll see Lil Majin compete probably down the road. And when we do, I could see him dominating. King is fucking crazy right now. So They nerfed him a bit, but he's still crazy strong. Lars, to me, is a strong A tier. Lars is, if not, you could argue bottom of S, but I don't know. Lars is crazy strong, and the reason for that is Den 3. That's shit is ridiculous. Dynamic entry 3 being +5 makes that move, you can't do anything but guess after you block that move. Is he gonna go low or is he gonna go mid? Safe mid, that's a heat engager / launcher in heat, or low, that's chunky, annoying, and is only -12 on block, so you don't get anything for that mix-up that he puts you in, and the move that he uses to put you in that mix-up is +5 on block, a homing move, a mid, and fucking low crushes too. Like, it's an insanely strong move. Dynamic entry 3 is his best attack right now, in my opinion. Aside from that move, though, he's just got his typical Lars shit. The issue I have with Lars now is he's got tracking on moves that he didn't normally have that much tracking on before. I don't remember the low double palm hit that he does ever tracking very heavily to both sides. It does now for some reason. His down forward 1 has increased tracking from Tekken 7 as well. Even his orbital, that move used to be linear as shit. It has some type of tracking in this game. I don't know. This character, he's got a lot of ridiculous shit, especially 3+4 in heat. I mean, like, he's got a lot of crazy shit in this game that puts him very high on the tier list, in my opinion, because he's just so over the top. That dynamic entry 3 move is insane. He could just do that all the fucking time. Spam that the way that Azucena spammed fucking running 3-2 before it got heavily nerfed, and he could do just as well as her. You could literally do that move and nothing else, because fucking you go right into silent entry, and if you just do silent entry 1, it's a safe mid heat engager / launcher. So what the fuck? Like, his characters, I hate this character, man. Lars is one of my least favorite fucking characters in the game. I hate that bitch. In my opinion, he's a solid A tier. I can't put him in S because he's got no tournament representation, but if you really wanted to, you could play him like a brain dead bitch. So if you get a strong enough Lars player in tournaments, maybe he will be very successful, and maybe we can put him in S tier down the road. Who knows? I want to see some good Lars players come out of the woodworks. Law is pretty crazy. I still have to put him in S tier because, man, Law, as I was saying earlier when I talked about Kazuya, he has very little risk reward. His risk is minimal and his reward is pretty gargantuan. I mean, like I said, slide, if it connects, you eat 40-something damage. If it gets blocked, he eats 40-something damage. So it's worth it to go for slide all the time. Plus, the move tracks pretty well to both sides. And you can mix it up with While Standing 3, now that he has that, which is a heat engager mid. Really strong, fucking solid move. Also launches in heat. So, crazy move for that reason as well. And the fact that you can mix it with that and While Standing 2, despite While Standing 2 being launch punishable, you still get a crazy full combo for landing While Standing 2, and considering people are terrified of slide, you nail While Standing 2 quite often because, first of all, it tracks to sidestep left. So a lot of people who are afraid of slide will try to sidestep left or sidestep right, and While Standing 2 tracks sidestep left, so you fucking eat that shit if that's the direction you happen to be stepping. You know, because maybe you want to avoid While Standing 3, which you can sidestep left. So it's tricky. Law is a very, very tricky character. He's got a pretty solid 50-50. The nunchucks that he has now, they're a safe mid launcher that hit from far away in heat, and you can spam that shit because it doesn't take that much heat bar away when you do the move. I don't know what weaknesses does Law have. He even has good punishment. I don't know any of his weaknesses at the moment, to be honest. I know he's susceptible to sidestep right, and the nunchucks, when you're not in heat, they're -13. Like I said, While Standing 2 is a mid that he can abuse, but it's also launch punishable. So if if the opponent is blocking that, Law's just going to get killed all the time. But good Law players won't throw in While Standing 2 unless they know it's going to hit. He's got Junkyard, which can beat a lot of lower level players. The very annoying string. He's got his down forward 1-3-2 bullshit that, you know, a lot of lower level players love to finish rounds with. Like, gimmicky shit. Law is still Law, but he's got some really crazy shit now because of his heat and his nunchucks and that new slide that he has. And I just think Law, in the position that he's in, his while standing 4 tech is crazy. I mean, that existing is nuts to me. The shit that he can get after landing a while standing 4, or the transition he goes into after while standing 4 because of the stance. I don't know. Law, solid S tier character, also gets very good tournament representation in top 8s. I mean, watch Evo Japan. There was 2 Laws in top 8. So, yeah. Very, very strong fucking character. If you don't think he's S tier still, even after his nerfs, then we should have a conversation. Paul is a solid A tier. Might even put him above Lars. Paul, now, because of his buffs, he has a 13 frame launching heat engager from standing position. Forward 2 now, right? I think that's the input, right? Or is it up forward 2? No, it's forward 2, I'm pretty sure, right? I'm not a Paul player, but that is crazy. That already adds a lot to his game. He already had forward 3, which was a 14 frame standing launcher. The range wasn't good, but he has that. He can launch 14 frames. So that's huge. Very few characters can do that. In fact, I think he's the only one that can launch a 14 frame, minus 14 move from the standing position. That's insane to me. Very crazy character for that. But he also has a safe down forward 2. He's got ridiculous damage when he does Death Fists in combos. Death Fist, which is a launcher now in Heat because it's also a Heat engager. Because of course it is, because it's fucking Death Fist. So Death Fist is really fucking good. Very linear, super punishable, but in Heat, used in combos, the damage just stacks so fast. Paul is crazy strong in this game. With the new additions that he has to his buffs, being able to charge Hammer of the Gods now, forward 1+2, that's very useful. How many benefits does Paul get from landing that on block? I don't know. Very, very strong character. We haven't seen him in tournament yet because we haven't seen Nee or Joey Fury compete with him in top 8s for just yet. But once we see the pros use him in action, man, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, but I'm convinced that he's top of A tier right now. I don't think I could see putting anybody above him yet. Nina is S tier and arguably the strongest character in the game right now. The thing about her that I gotta just point out really quick that is annoying to me is her heat smash. The heat smash that she does lasts fucking forever and leaves you at, what, -6? I think it's +6 on block. So, the heat smash she has, to me, is kind of unfair in a lot of ways because, for example, if I'm Kazuya and I'm in heat and she does her heat smash and I block it, my heat bar is going to continue to go down while that long ass animation continues and Kazuya's got to block that, and then I have to continue to block afterwards because she still gets prerogative. It's her turn after the move is blocked and the animation is over. She still gets to continue her offense because fuck that move. And I'm just wasting my heat bar. So all the Nina player has to do is just use her heat smash and make you waste your fucking heat bar. If you're already in heat. Even if the move gets blocked, you lose a shit ton of chip life because those guns are stupid. You lose a fuck ton of your heat bar because it just goes down. And then she gets to continue offense. There's no downside to that fucking heat smash. And it tracks very heavily to both sides. So, insanely fucking good move, and I think it's only 15 frames. So it's a really, really strong heat smash. Nina has a very annoying fucking heat smash. But on top of that, she still has the Hayashida step, she still has the cancels, she still has her insanely fast pokes, down forward 1-2, still jails, so you can't duck the second hit of down forward 1-2. The Spinneroonie move that she can loop in combos, she gets 2 or 3 of them in a typical combo now. And when are they going to nerf those things? They said they did, but I don't think they did. It doesn't feel like they did to me, because if you can loop 2 or 3 of those spinneroonies in a combo, your combo's gonna last like 20 fucking seconds. And I play Kazuya. I don't have a spinneroonie. My combos last maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then they're over, and then we can continue the game. But when I'm sitting in a fucking combo because these douchebag characters have this stupid mechanic, and Nina's one of them, and they say they nerfed them because they're pissing off everybody for how long we have to wait for the damn combo to finish. Don't even worry about the damage. Don't worry about the fucking crazy disadvantage that you're gonna be at once the combo's over. No, it's not about that. The annoying part is how long the damn things are. That spinneroonie is to blame for it. So get rid of that bullshit. It's not fun for anybody. Even the players that use characters that have spinneroonie attacks, that do them in combos, will say, yeah, I kind of don't like how long my character's combos are. It's cool to get all this damage and shit, but I don't want to be just, comboing all the time. I kind of want to fight too, Like, I've actually talked to players who have said that about their own character. Dragunov, Feng, Nina, they all have this spinneroonie bullshit, and they can abuse the crap out of it, and they should, because it's super fucking good. And it adds so much wall carry. But it's super frickin' annoying for everybody involved, even the attacker. So, Bamco, get rid of those. 1 per combo. That's it. There needs to be no more. It should be another gimmick like the tailspin effect or the tornado spin effect. And I think every character in the game should have 1. If you're gonna give 1 to like 5 or 6 characters and then nobody else, why? That's kind of fucking bullshit. Give it to everybody, and then have it be only once per combo, and everybody will be happy. But having people spam 3 or 4 of those per combo, and watching 20-second cutscene combos is not fun. Regardless, I'm digressing, Nina's top tier right now. Her tournament performance is crazy. She's gotten top 8s all the fucking time, and honestly, it's hard to say what to nerf about her. I mean, her Power Crush, her spammable forward 1+2 Power Crush got nerfed, so you can sidestep it now, but it's still really good. It's a heat engager mid Power Crush that launches in heat, and is +5 and gives +5 if blocked in heat. I mean, really fucking good move. And it used to track to both sides. So, I don't know, a super solid move in that regard. Nina's got a lot of crazy shit. I don't know enough about the character in terms of the moves that she has. I just know how to fight Nina. I know how to deal with her bullshit. But all I really know is that in tournaments, she's constantly getting top 8 over and over and over again by multiple players. So when you see 1 or 2 players use a character well in top 8s, consistently, you know the character's really strong, but you also know those 2 players is really strong. When you see like 3 or 4 or 5 players using one character in top 8s in tournaments, that character is really fucking strong. And yeah, those players are very, very good too, but that character, holy fuck, man, like there's a lot to be said about that character. So, I think there's an argument to be made about Nina being the best character in the game currently. On top of that, she has some insane movement too. Her sidestep is really, really good. It's not Lili level good. It's not even really Zafina level good. But those 2 are insanely crazy with their sidesteps. So, yeah, Nina has some really good evasion. She has a really gimmicky bullshit guns that just chip your life away. Even on block, they do crazy damage. So it's hard to put her anywhere below S, considering the tournament representation and the tools she has at her disposal. She's also got a perfect throw game, and one of the very few characters, one of 4 characters in this game, her, Shaheen, Kuma, and Panda, who can delete your gray health. She's got that. Nina has that. She can delete gray health. Very, very rare gimmick, and extremely powerful for the characters who have it. Xiaoyu is S tier. Her tournament representation is trash. She's got nothing. But Ling players are always getting their asses kicked. What can I say? I mean, the top tier Ling players will kick my ass, but the top tier Ling players seem to be getting their asses kicked by all the other top tier players. It's not my fault that they are, but they are. The character, though, she's a specialist character, so I gotta give them props where props are due. But Xiaoyu, to me, is total bullshit. Her heat smash giving you a 50-50 on hit and on block is fucking stupid. Hypnotist stance needs a complete workaround. Like, Hypnotist 3 got nerfed to 13 frames on block, but minus 13 on block, so Kazuya can launch it, but nobody fucking else can. And I don't just play Kazuya. I'd like to launch it with Devil Jin too, so it should be minus 16, I think. So everybody can launch it, including Steve. That would be good. Also, the Hypnotist 2 is a plus on block mid heat engager fucking launcher. Is it plus on block? I don't fucking know. I'm pretty sure it's plus. I know it's plus in heat, yeah, whatever. And of course, there's the infamous bullshit with her AOP stance. You can't say a character with the tiniest hurt box in the game, where combos are already difficult to land on her because she's just naturally smaller than everybody else, right? Her and Reina, anyways. Her and Reina are the smallest characters in the game. But you can't tell me that a character with that tiny of a hurt box, having a stance that she can duck in, that when she ducks in that stance, she is able to go under low attacks. Seriously. Xiaoyu in AOP duck stance can go under low attacks. How is that even how? Like, that should defy all logic. There's no reason for that. Low attacks hit grounded. Most of them do, right? So how the fuck can she go over a move that hits grounded? That's not go under a move that hits grounded. That's fucking ridiculous. But that's what her stance allows her to do. It's like her hurt box just vanishes for that moment in time when she ducks in that stance. And then from that moment, she can immediately hop kick and launch you for a full combo. It's crazy how bullshit that stance is, and they have not fixed it yet. They haven't fixed AOP, and they have not fixed Hypnotist, and they have not fixed her Heat Smash 50-50. So until that shit gets fixed, she will be S tier forever. Because that is some crazy, crazy strong garbage. Not a fan of Ling. She's one of the other characters that I absolutely fucking hate. So Xiaoyu and Lars, so far, are the two characters on this list that we've talked about so far that I absolutely fucking hate. And I don't like Xiaoyu because of the bullshit she's got in this game right now. And her voice, and I can't handle the character at all. I just don't like Xiaoyu. She's a terrible character. I have never liked Xiaoyu. But, you know, she's very frustrating. Again, these characters up here, they dictate the match, right? The S-tier characters. That's how you know that they're S-tier, because it's not about what you want to do. It's about what they allow you to do. Those characters dictate what you're going to do next because you're afraid of them. They're not afraid of you. You don't really feel that about these characters. Certainly not about Jack. So, moving on. Asuka. I'm going to put Asuka in B tier. I'm not sure too much about Asuka. I know she's got down 1+2, but that's launch punishable. Down 1+2 is a decent low, and then she can mix it up with 1+2, which is a safe mid launcher. Pretty good, but very linear. So if you think she's going to go for 1+2 or down 1+2, you can option select both attacks by just sidestepping her or sidewalking her right or left, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure you can sidestep it left too, but sidewalk, sidestep right beats both those options. So she has tracking moves to prevent you from doing that, but Asuka that's her 50-50, and it's not that good. She has a lot of highs in her strings, in her good strings that she wants to land on you, but they're very easily telegraphed. You can just duck and launch her for a lot of the strings that she does. When Asuka has her install, while running 1+2 is a good homing move that's plus on block, and it launches on hit, but it's a high. So you can still just duck under that if you think she's going to go for that. And she has back 3 for good keep out, but that can be punished as well if you know how. If you expect it, you bait it out, you can launch that. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, she has some moves to fall back on, but an experienced player that knows Asuka can deal with all of her tools, and then she doesn't really have much. Like, forward 1 is her power mid, and that's very linear. I don't know. Asuka's got, she doesn't have a very good throw game. I think she's got a 2 throw, a 1+2 throw, but not a 1 throw. So she doesn't even have a perfect throw game. She's just got the 2, as far as I know. I can't remember if she has a 1 throw. I'm pretty sure she doesn't. But she has a launching throw, which is good, but those are nerfed now, so they're very easy to break compared to other command throws. So, I mean, she has probably the worst jab in the game with the range. I think the jab I calculated at 1.82 if you pair her up against Xiaoyu, which is the appropriate training dummy you want for measuring ranges of attacks in the game, just for your FYI. Against Xiaoyu, her jab hits at 1.82, which is the worst range in the game in terms of jabs. So she has a terrible jab. Her jab punish is nothing special. 1-3 is nothing all that great. Doesn't really do a whole lot. Bottom of B tier for Asuka is fair. Asuka will still carry you quite far in the lower ranks because she's got a lot of gimmicks. And she's got a lot of effective tools and effective strings that kill lower players from, like, Fujin and below. People will get destroyed by Asukas. But in the higher blue, gold ranks, God of Destruction level, tournament level, pro level, Asuka is fucking trash. And there's just no denying that. So I think bottom of B is where she belongs. Leroy is solid. I definitely think A tier for Leroy, but holy fuck, he is solid. He's got some crazy plus frames. His new move with sidestep 1+2 at +7. He's got insane chip damage. His chip damage rivals the Bears, and the Bears are the chip damage archetype for the game. Their entire gimmick is, let me chip the fuck out of your health bar, and then I'm going to delete it with my unbreakable bear throw from my stance, where I also have a launching mids and hurting, like, difficult lows that you're not going to want to get hit by. So, Leroy's got some crazy, crazy good chip damage. If he can compare his chip to the Bears' chip damage, then you got a good character with some good-ass chip damage. But he's also quite a linear character. You can sidestep a lot of Leroy's shit. He's got some homing moves, but most of them are high or low, so pretty much duck beats all of the options. He doesn't really have a whole lot in terms of solid mids. As far as I know, he's got the orbital that's pretty slow, very linear. He's got down forward 1+2, or down forward 2, 1+2, I think is what it is. And that's a launch punishable mid. That's his 15-frame launch punish. But he's got down 1+2, solid mid. But I don't really, back 1+2 is his counter hit, 12-frame counter hit launcher, but it doesn't have any range at all. So it's not something you're going to use as an offensive tool. It's more of a defensive tool. You're trying to catch somebody mashing in your face with that move, not approach and then try to hit them with that move, which is something, those types of moves are the types of moves that Leroy doesn't really have. He's got down 3-4 as a good low, but sidestep into duck, that pretty much destroys Leroy's entire offense. And as long as you know Leroy, if you have good knowledge of the character, you can punish him appropriately. You just have to know when his, circle punch strings end. When exactly do those moves end so I can, apply my launch punish appropriately. That's the kicker. If you're not familiar with the character of Leroy, then you'll get your ass kicked, but that can be said about 90% of the cast, really. So, Leroy, though, because of the tools he does have, shit ton of chip damage. His Heat Smash got buffed, which is great. Solid Heat Smash, too. Decent lows. Pretty strong mids, but no crazy power mids. He could use a couple of those. He has some power highs, but power highs are just power lows. They're not that great. Power mids are what you want them to have. So I'd probably put Leroy right now. Is he stronger than June? Yeah, I think Leroy might be a bit stronger than June. He's got that Heat Smash, but it's so linear. His Heat Smash is better than hers now. Even though it hits from across the screen, you don't need to worry about it because you just sidestep preemptively and it will completely whiff. It's very, very... If you think she's going to use it, sidestep and you'll dodge it. Leroy, if you think he's going to use his Heat Smash, sidestep and you might still get hit by it. So, because it's not that linear. Yeah, I think I'd put Leroy here. He's not as good as Lars, because he can't just put you into scenarios where all you can do is guess. He's not as good as Paul, because he doesn't have access to easy mode launchers that are only 13 for. He can't punish hop kicks with a launch. And again, these guys have some power mids that they put you in scenarios where they pressure you down and they can really apply them on a regular basis. Leroy doesn't really have a whole lot of those. So I think this is where he should sit. His tools aren't that spammable, but if you're a good Leroy player and you apply your tools appropriately, especially his staff, that being a thing, his cane, that's a pretty fucking good move too, but that's a limited use attack, obviously, right? So it's not something you can really apply to the tier list because it exists, yes, but is it abusable? Not really. Middle of A tier for now. Leroy's probably pretty good there. Lili, I think, is still S tier, not along with these characters. She's not up there with these guys still, but the tracking she has is crazy. She has insane tracking in a lot of her fucking moves, and she's got some insane movement. Lili has the best sidestep in the game. So she has long-ranged attacks that you can hit you from a distance. Forward 4, down 3. Both of those moves are fantastic moves to keep your opponent at bay, hit them from a distance, but keep safe at the same time. And on top of that, she can sidestep everybody in the game, even moves you technically shouldn't be able to sidestep, like Deviljin's Laser Scraper, back forward 2. She can sidestep that. That's fucking insane that she can sidestep that. Like no issue, too. She's able to do it, no fucking problem. Because she shifts, her character shifts to like a sideways position while she sidesteps. When you watch everybody else, they sidestep on the screen like this. So their entire body is this way. But Lili kind of changes direction like this. So she's cut her hurt box in half and she's moving laterally across the screen. She shifts her entire hurt box when she sidesteps. That's why her sidestep is so insane. So she has incredible movement and moves that will track you no matter how good your movement is. So you can't hit Lili, but she sure as fucking hit you. And not like I said, she also has ranged attacks where she can hit you from way further away than you can hit her. So she's just the keep out goddess of the game right now. And her tournament performance, I mean, this is before she got nerfed, but she did win EVO Japan. Then she got pretty nerfed, and now she's weaker than she was, obviously, but still very strong. Her voila kick that used to fuck people up on the ground, that hit grounded, is -11 now, and it doesn't do the same effect it does when it hits grounded anymore, so you can't loop that shit. And her Oki is far, far shittier than it used to be. But who fucking cares? It's still really good. That move still hits grounded and it does a ton of damage. And she's got the fucking feisty rabbit stance bullshit, the 50-50 out of feisty rabbit. She's got insane crushing abilities, like her down 4 3+4 jumps over a bunch of mids and every low, and she'll launch you for half your health with that fucking move. And holy shit, it actually has a little bit of tracking to it, because I've tried so many times to sidestep that fucking thing, and it tracks a lot more than you think. Down 4 3+4, pretty good move. Pretty strong mid. Lili's heat is pretty friggin' good. Her heat smashes aren't that great, which is a saving grace for this character. If she had crazy good heat smashes, she'd be a little bit too OP. But she does have a heat smash out of stance that she can mix with her crazy mids out of stance that hits low. So there's also that. Lili's pretty bullshit. I don't know. Lili, to me, we'll see her in top 8 in tournament again real soon. Mark my fucking words, we will. She's so strong still. Hwoarang, to me, is going to go to the top of A tier. This guy is way stronger than everybody likes to say. People like to downplay the fuck out of Hwoarang. I think part of the people that downplay Hwoarang are, well, obviously you have the passionate Hwoarang mains that don't want their boy to get touched in the patch list, so they just, downplay the shit out of him and say he's not all that great. And then you have the other people that just don't know enough about the character that say, yeah, I'll just side with the guys that say he's kind of average because I really don't know because I haven't labbed the character enough. Yeah, well, I've spent hours labbing this guy. He's got insane punishment. He has... I made a video on this guy the other day, so you can tell that I fucking labbed him a shit ton. But he has insane punishment. We've talked about that in the video I made of him the other day. He has ridiculous pressure tools in the neutral from in your face, and he has a way to close the gap if he wants to with down forward 3 from right for forward stance, so you can't even get away from Hwoarang when you want to. And then he's got a really good heat smash, really good heat attacks, insane range on his moves, insane whip punishment. I don't understand what the downplay of this guy is all about. What is it? He doesn't have range problems. He doesn't have punishment problems. His heat is great. I want to know, what is it about Hwoarang that everybody seems to think is so shit about the character? That's what I want to know. So, yeah, Hwoarang players aren't very good, in my opinion. I mean, there's obviously guys like Edge and Speed Kicks that are insane. Really fucking great players that would destroy me. I'm not saying, when I say Hwoarang players aren't very good, I mean, like, Hwoarang players who compete in tournaments who just can't fucking get there, you know? Because I think they've spent too long playing Hwoarang and haven't spent long enough playing Tekken. That's the problem with Hwoarang, is people just love to do Hwoarang shit so they don't learn proper Tekken fundamentals. You can actually see this in a tournament. I can't remember what the tournament was, but it was the tournament match, Hwoarang versus Lili, FDX versus somebody else, can't remember what his name was. Not a very well-known player as far as I know, but... And I'm not trying to talk down about his gameplay, because he was great when it came to whiff punishment. But basic shit like block punishment, he didn't have anything. He punished shit that was launch punishable with jabs in tournament. And I know that that's nerves, but you don't see that happening on the highest level of play from most other players that use other characters. You see that a lot with Hwoarang players. That was just one example of a bunch I could give you. Right? Like, he didn't have good punishment. Again, he beat FDX. Could that guy beat me? Yeah, he'd kick the shit out of me. But his punishment was trash, and I think even he would attest to that. Right? So, that is a hallmark of the character. He doesn't really require you learn all that shit and burn it into your brain so much that it's just muscle memory whenever you see yourself in a scenario on screen. You're like, okay, this is the go-to response for that. I've done this a million times, so I'm just going to do this 1,000,001 now. You're going to jab punish that, or this is minus 12 frame punish that. Once you've seen it enough times and you've put yourself in that scenario enough times with that character, you're going to just have it in your brain to do those things on reaction, on response, every single time. And he wasn't doing them, which means they weren't burned into his brain, which means Hwoarang players don't necessarily need to learn that to get to a tournament-level status. That's how far this character will take you. You will get all the way up to God of Destruction and then some with Hwoarang, and you're a great player, but you're not top level because you play Hwoarang. And you don't want to learn that top level shit that you need to learn, that you should learn, but because you play Hwoarang, you just don't, I don't know what, there's like a block there. I don't get it. The only guys that I know that have top level skills are Speed Kicks and Edge. They showcase the skills of like a Mishima player, yet they main Hwoarang. They're the anomalies of the Hwoarang community, as far as I'm concerned. Most Hwoarang players are, up until like gold ranks, are just unga bunga bullshit, right? Nothing to do with actual Tekken. But once you get to the high gold ranks and into tournaments, you start to see a little more like punishment. But you still don't get to see the top tier punishment you should be seeing in tournament from Hwoarang players. So the character just does a lot for you that makes it so you don't need to learn that stuff. So why isn't Hwoarang seeing major top 8 representation? Because I just don't think the Hwoarang players that are competing right now are good enough. That's my opinion. And you could say, hey, Buff, well, then why don't you go and compete with your Kazuya in tournament? Well, because I'd get fucking destroyed. And I'd be the guy that's responsible for Kazuya not seeing any top 8 level action, right? Because I'm not good enough. But the difference is, my fundamentals, because I play Kazuya, are pretty decent. If I played Hwoarang, I bet you my fundamentals would be trash. Because I don't need to learn that shit. I do need to learn that shit because that's all I got with Kazuya. I got a fuck ton of other stuff with Hwoarang. So, are they both A tier? In my opinion, yes. Is Kazuya as strong as Hwoarang? Not even fucking close. But this is where I think this is looking pretty good so far. Claudio, I hate to say it, but I don't really know a whole lot about this character. I know his wall running 2 is pretty good. I know his triple punch string, I can't remember what it's called, it got buffed so that you can use it more appropriately in combos. He is the best hop kick in the game, but his lows are very lackluster, and I just don't think that I've seen enough from him in tournament to really say that he's worth putting above A tier right now. I think he's very strong, because from what here's the thing, I don't know much about Claudio because to me he's kind of boring. I just don't have an interest in Claudio. I've never been interested in this character. And now he's dead in the lore. So it's like you play story mode, spoiler alert, but Kazuya straight up kills Claudio in the fucking game. He kills him in the story mode. So he's dead. He is not coming back to another Tekken unless it's future DLC as like a dead version of the character or just, an alive version of the character, but he's only in the game as DLC with no story attachment or anything like that. He's non-canon to the story because he's dead. So will we see Claudio in Tekken 9? Probably, but not in the story. He's gone. Him being dead makes it so I have even less incentive to learn really anything about the character. Could that be an advantage to players of Claudio like Shadow 20Z, one of the best players in the world and by far the best Claudio player in the world? Also the best Zafina player in the world, you could argue, although Chanel's pretty good with her too, as far as I know. And so is Arslan. But Claudio, to me, I don't know. Just never been all that interested in the character. Don't really know enough about the character to give a critique. So I'm going to have to just put him in A tier, because I know he's super fucking strong. But I can't really comment on why that is. I'm not going to pretend like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I know the bare minimum basic bullshit with Claudio. I know how to fight Claudio. I don't know what about the character makes him strong and what about him makes him weak. I know he has a shit throw game, so that's kind of trash. He's got a cool projectile and heat, but it's a high, so it doesn't really do a whole lot. And it's super telegraphed. And, he's got some cool shit in this game. He's got a low heat smash, which is great because he needs it since his lows are so shit. Do I think he's stronger than Kazuya? I don't know. I'm going to say yes because at least he's very easy to use. Kazuya's not. He's got a hop kick. He's got pretty decent pokes. He's got an amazing 50-50. The trade-off is you don't need to really use... There's no execution required for him. There's a shit ton required for him. Is he stronger than June? I don't know. That's the debatable part, because I don't know enough about Claudio to say whether or not he's stronger than a character I don't really know a whole shit ton about either. I know way more about June than I do about Claudio. Let's just say that. So I'm going to put Claudio here, and hopefully that makes everybody happy. Azucena, she's probably somewhere around there. While running 3-2 is still +2 on block. She's got those crazy string cancels into her Libertador fucking stance. The auto parry she has with lows and highs in that stance is pretty crazy. But down forward 1-4 still jails. I mean, that's so fucking frustrating to me. She's probably somewhere around A tier. She's not really having any tournament representation. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. I don't think Azucena's that strong. I just don't. She got fucking hella nerfed. I don't think she's bottom of B tier, but she's pretty trash. We haven't seen anybody really bring her out and do anything major with her since she got nerfed. She's not nearly as spammable as she used to be. So I think top of B tier. I think Kazuya is stronger than her. So yeah, We'll do that. Raven is really good. A tier for sure. We'll decide where exactly in A tier in a bit, but Raven is really fucking good, man. I mean, he's got a 14 frame while standing launcher. He's got down forward one that basically homes. It's a homing move. It tracks to both sides. Down forward 1-4, the clone, is a fantastic 14 frame punish. He's got the best parry in the game, arguably, at 1 frame. You only need 1 frame to activate his parry. You need 3 frames to activate Leroy's parry, which is the next level, top tier good shit. Yoshimitsu's flash is 6 frames. So Power Crush is 7 frames. Rage Arts activate in 8 frames. Raven's parry, 1 fucking frame, man. Really, really, really strong ass fucking parry. He can be -9 and still parry in time to deal with whatever attack you want to throw out. Same thing in like a heat engager situation. If you land a heat engager on Raven and then immediately attack after, he can parry the attack even though he's -17. That's how fucking good he is. He's such a strong, his parry is so strong. That's how good it is. I mean, his parry, not Raven. Raven's really good, but the parry he has can't be understated. If you apply it right, it's the best parry in the game. You just have to know when to apply it. And Raven can set himself up for that parry. He can put himself in -9 positions all the time and do the parry. He can also do it from back turn, which is one of his favorite stances. Raven in back turn is like a completely different character. So Raven's got some really good lows. He's got that hell sweep from, full crouch down 4, 3+4. He's got the soul zone stance. You've got a pretty decent mix up in that one. He's really fantastic when it comes to whiff punishment. He's got insanely good whiff punishment. Really solid while standing punishment, and he's got some of the biggest knowledge checks in the game. Raven is one of the what the fuck am I doing against this character type of characters. Even players at the top level still have a hard time dealing with Ravens who are very, very good at the character. They know how to apply all of his crazy shit and throw it all at you at once. And a good Raven player who's able to do that is going to go far. I think Raven is, to me, that's probably correct. I've dabbled with Raven a little bit. He's one of the characters I use. In fact, on this entire page so far, in the tiers, out of all these characters, the only characters I use are I main Kazuya, and I dabble with Raven sometimes. He's a lot of fun. I really enjoy using Raven, but he's tricky to use. His stances are very interesting but difficult to incorporate appropriately, and that parry is tough to set up, but if you're a Raven main, you know how to set that shit up, and you're gonna get some good mileage from it. Dragunov. I've talked about this fucking character to death. I don't think I should go into any more, but currently, Dragunov, to me, is the best character in the game. There's no question about it.
He's so close to taking into the hate smash, and Ulsan is gonna be your dream hack summer champion.
Thank you very much. I never expect that I win this tournament because I just bring my new main Dragunov just from 1 week ago.
Yeah.
So I didn't practice much time, but thank you, Dragunov. Yeah.
One of the best players in the world, Ulsan, says thank you, Dragunov, when he wins a tournament with the character after only playing him for a week. He picked up Dragunov, was like, fuck, I'll dabble with him for a bit, picked him up a week. That is not only a testament to how insanely good Ulsan is, just winning a big tournament with a fucking character like that he has not really ever played before, but also, that's a testament to how strong the character is. You don't need me to elaborate on that. He said thank you, Dragunov, for fuck's sakes. The character is still fucking busted. I want to say one thing that's super important. Dragunov was twice as good as he is now, before the patch that nerfed him big time. Patch 1.04, was it? So, they nerfed him in patch 1.04, big time. He got his knees cut off. The thing is about that, he is in a game with 32 other characters who also all received nerfs and buffs. So the entire meta has shifted. You can't just say that, oh, Dragunov sucks now because he got nerfed. No, everybody else is different now, and those changes are going to be applied over time. There's going to be things that we're going to need to reevaluate about certain characters, and I think it's time that we are starting to reevaluate Dragunov. We thought, yeah, he's nerfed, he's so shit now. No, he's absolutely not. He's competing with different characters in the top pools now, and he's winning tournaments, as you just saw there. So, big events, too. Not just these little bullshit dojo events. He's winning some challengers and master events now. So, Dragunov is kicking serious ass. You can't say that if he was a shit character. Those nerfs obviously did a lot for the game. They made him less of a nightmare to fight against, but they did not make him weak. He's still, in my opinion, the strongest character in the game and needs some serious tending to. Dragunov, there are people that will talk shit about Dragunov. QCF4 is a balanced move, while running 2 is balanced. Those people, just stop talking, alright? There's no reason to have that opinion when all of the evidence says otherwise. Every bit of evidence we have about this character tells you that he is way stronger than pretty much everybody. So stop downplaying your god-tier character. Dragunov is still the best in the game, in my opinion, and in a fuck ton of other players' opinions. So, until he gets nerfed again, you don't get to bitch. Next up on the list is Kuma, and Kuma is going right up to fucking there. Kuma is crazy strong. His chip damage is insane, he has a ridiculous heat smash, and he has an electric in heat that takes almost no heat bars, so you can just spam the shit out of his electric. It's a special mid, so you can't duck it. It's hard to sidestep because it's an electric, and it's plus on block. So he's got an insane toolkit now. The fact that he's an electric in heat, that you get a full launch from the damn thing. And you don't want to duck him when he's in heat because he's got a 13-frame heat smash that will kill you if you duck it. All in all, this character doesn't have anything in regards to lows. His lows are pretty trash. All of them are launch punishable. Almost every single low, especially since I play Kazuya. Kazuya can literally launch every single low that Kuma has. Every low he does, Kazuya can launch it. And actually, many characters can launch almost every low that Kuma has. So, except for maybe one, like 2-1-3, I think some characters can't launch that, but Kazuya can. Because I think that's minus 13, as far as I know. Minus 13 or minus 14. But down back 2 was minus 13 in Tekken 7. It's minus 15 now. So everybody can launch his down back 2 except for Steve. Steve's always getting shat on. But hey, Steve gets Sonic Feng for that now. They've given Steve a 14-frame punish from while standing, so that's great. So now Kuma's been pretty much, nerfed in that regard, but he doesn't need lows, is the thing. Chip damage exists in Tekken 8. The Bears have the highest level of chip damage in the game. Kuma has a way to not only chip you out fucking 60% of your health, but a way to delete your gray health so there's no recovering that with heat engagers and doing moves on block or anything like that. You have to just eat the damage that he gives you, even though you blocked all the moves he did. And he's got some strong moves that do a lot of damage on block. So, very solid character. Way the fuck better than Panda because of his heat options. So, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Bears in this game are exceptionally strong, but Kuma is for sure stronger than Panda. So he's going to be probably somewhere around the middle of A tier for keeps. Next up on the list is Leo, and Leo is going probably right there because Leo is nuts. Leo's down forward 2, hits from across the fucking street. Leo has the 3rd best jab range in the game. Leo has some crazy pressure, and in the stances that Leo has, sidestepping the stances is difficult because there are very fast moves that come out of the stance that track very heavily to both sides. Leo's heat smash is crazy strong. It's a fucking wall-splatting heat smash that comes out at 15 frames, hits mid, is heavily plus on block, plus 8 on block, and if you eat it, it will wall splat you, and then you get a full combo. Leo gets a full combo follow-up after the wall splat. It is crazy how strong that heat smash is. It's another thing I forgot to mention about Jin, is Jin's heat smash is the best heat smash in the game. Another reason this character is so fucking stupid, but yeah, Jin is definitely S tier. Leo, A tier for sure. I have a hard time putting Leo. You know what? Fuck. It's hard to say if Leo's stronger than Lars. I think Leo's stronger than Lars. Leo has some really good tools and really good punishment. And some very, very strong Oki and some good setups with Oki. The install that Leo gets increases the damage on a mid or a low of their choice. They get a Hell Sweep as well. There's an extension to the Hell Sweep when they have their install. Fuck, man. Leo's good. I don't know. I have a hard time placing Leo below there. I think not quite as strong as Paul. Certainly not on Hwoarang's level, but very, very strong character. I would like to do... I think Leo might be the next How to Stop Hating Tekken characters on my list, because I really want to learn more about Leo, but I also want to learn how to kick the shit out of this character, because, man, my matchup knowledge with Leo is really trash when I'm in an actual match with this character, but I understand more about the character on paper than I do in practice. It's pretty much the exact opposite of Claudio. I understand more about him in practice than on paper. Shaheen is definitely S tier. Insane 50-50 mix-up, safe high heat engager power crush. It's still safe. They nerfed it quite a bit, so it has no more pushback on block. It's very linear. It's slower now, but it's still a safe high power crush heat engager. I mean, that's never not gonna be good. You can nerf the shit out of that move, but unless you make it punishable on block, it's always gonna be good and abusable on some level. Shaheen players still just do power crush heat engager after power crush heat engager into power crush heat engager into hop kick into power crush heat engager. At fucking Tekken God Supreme rank, people are doing that. And why not? It's a spammable move. Just fucking do it. So, really, really good character. Is winning tournaments. AK is destroying people with this guy right now. Sephi Black is killing everybody with this guy right now. Shaheen is very, very strong. Has all the tools you need to be an insane Tekken character, and is very easy to use because the character has no real gimmicks, but he also doesn't have really any execution, and he only has like 84 moves total. So Shaheen is very simple, but applying all of his tools appropriately is where the intrigue comes into play with Shaheen. He's more interesting now than he was in Tekken 7, especially since he has that charge move that's really interesting. It's a guard break. He can also delete your gray health, which is a very rare mechanic. Like I said, only 4 characters can do that, and Shaheen is one of them, so a very cool mechanic for that reason, but also one of the reasons why he's up here. Because look at Nina, she's got the same thing and she's up there. Fucking crazy strong mechanic, being able to delete their gray health and make it so they can't regenerate their health. That's very, very, very strong. So Shaheen, with his tournament representation, in tandem with his tools, in tandem with his pressure, with wall running 2, back 3, up forward 1, like insanely good moves that have insane utility that he can just abuse at any time he wants, and you're at his mercy. He is dictating the match. Shaheen, with his 50-50 and his spammable pressure, he is dictating the match at all times. And he requires no execution to do that, so he's an easy mode character that's very effective. That's S tier quality as far as I can say. Steve is another really solid character. I'm gonna probably put him right there. He got some very decent quality of life buffs. I really love Steve. I kind of dabble with him every now and again, but I'm not very good with him. I just kind of fuck around. I think I'm like Flame Ruler right now, so you know, I'm I'm scrubbing it right now with Steve, but he's a fun character to dabble with. I just I put him above Kazuya in A tier because he's still very difficult to use, but he doesn't require as high execution demand as Kazuya. His punishment is pretty subpar. Like, Steve can't really launch anything from standing unless it's a counter hit. He is supposed to be the best counter hit character in the game, but you got characters like King and Lee, who we'll talk about later, who have better counter hit mechanics built into them than Steve does with his back one, which is kind of a slap in the face to Steve because that's his whole shtick. And yet they gave better tools to King and Lee for that shtick, and that's not even their shtick. So what the fuck? Let me just say shtick some more. Steve is a really strong character in some regard. Like, he's very, very good against certain matchups. Steve kicks the shit out of Mishimas. He destroys Mishimas because he can. He's a very poke heavy character who wants to be in your face at all times. And against Kazuya, he has no pokes, and he wants to be out of your face at all times so that he can keep you away with electrics and then come in with 50-50 pressure. Steve will not allow Kazuya to get his vortex going, so very, very bad matchup for Kazuya. Also a terrible matchup for Devil Jin. Reina hates fighting Steve as well, although she has a much easier time dealing with him because she's a lot stronger than Steve. Bryan as well, he doesn't have that much fun playing against Steve because Steve has some very, very superior pokes to the shit that Bryan's got. Bryan has a lot of high attacks, and Steve has back one. So, I mean, what is Bryan going to do trying to hatch it when Steve can back one that shit? So, Steve has a lot of very, very good matchups that swing in his favor. But against a lot of other matchups, he's like against Hwoarang, for example, he's trash because you can't really do a whole lot. Like, what are you going to do against Hwoarang if he tries to backlash? You can't really launch punish Hwoarang's backlash at all. You can maybe get away with that with a 15-frame launch, but Steve only has a 16-frame, so Hwoarang will recover too quick from that. He also sometimes can't even launch his down 3-4. If you block his down 3-4 on a read, and then you try to launch with full crouch down forward 2, which is Steve's 16-frame launcher now, that they buffed from 18 to 16 frames, thank fuck for that, by the way, you run the risk of trading with Hwoarang's standing, or his right foot forward 2, or you run the risk of just being beaten out by it if you're a little bit late. So Hwoarang is a tricky matchup for Steve. That's just one of many examples. All of these characters are shit matchups for Steve as well. Steve's got a lot of matchups in the game that are not really in his favor. The ones that are in his favor, he dominates. The ones that are not in his favor, he pretty much loses outright. So that's why I think if he had better punishment, if he could launch standing moves at 15 frames, he'd probably be somewhere up here, or even up here maybe. Until we see some improvements with Steve's defense, so his ability to punish, he's going to be probably here for a while. His offense is great, but his defense is not that good. It's subpar. So I think he's going to stay near the bottom of A tier for quite a while. Yoshimitsu, to me, is S tier. Kane and Trench just bodied CBM in a tournament with Yoshimitsu. He displayed a brilliant performance of the Yoshimitsu in top 8. Yoshi is very, very strong. He is another character that's a match dictator. He doesn't allow you to run your offense. He is keeping you in check at all times just from existing because he has flash and he has spin. Those are Yoshimitsu gimmicks. Only Yoshi has access to that stuff. So he can spin, which is just an enhanced sidestep that gets him the fuck out of dodge at the cost of some real health. But his sidestep is insane because of that move. It allows Yoshi to capitalize on some otherwise unpunishable whip punish scenarios. And with Flash, you basically scare the fuck out of your opponent from capitalizing on their plus frames. So, because Flash comes out at 6 frames. So you basically have to have Yoshi at a constant +5 scenario and doing only jabs or 11 frame moves. It's like, if you're Kazuya and you do electric into electric, Yoshi can flash the second electric and you can die. So, that's insane. The fact that he's able to do that, Yoshi can also flash his way out of Lars's bullshit. So you don't need to worry about Lars's +5 garbage if you're, if Lars does dynamic entry 3 and you block it, and he's going to do his follow-up into silent entry, you just flash and he's dead. Really, really fucking good move. Flash is Yoshi's carry move. It's a gimmick move that a lot of players who don't know what the fuck they're doing will abuse the fuck out of that move and even get themselves up to Tekken God. Yoshi, like Hwoarang, is another character that, in my opinion, teaches the player to not learn the mechanics of the game before it's too late. Like it's a shame when that happens, because really, really high level Yoshimitsu players are great at the game and they're beautiful to watch. Like iMusician, watching him play Yoshimitsu in tournament is like the greatest movie of all fucking time. Just like watching a live Rammstein performance when he plays Yoshimitsu in tournament. It's fucking so sick. So Yoshimitsu is beautiful to watch at the highest level. But below that, he's very it's like just the classic Unga Bunga shit. A lot of people don't know what the fuck they're doing with this character. There are people in Tekken Emperor, Tekken God ranks that have no clue what they're doing with Yoshimitsu. So that, to me, is very interesting. I mean, it shows you how far he can carry people, but it's not just because he's Yoshimitsu and he has those crazy gimmicks. He's also got insane damage. Insane damage. From Flash, that 6-frame move that I just talked about, you can flash. He gets a launch if he's in no sword stance, NSS. He gets a launch from Flash, which comes out at 8 frames if it's in no sword stance, which is still 2 frames faster than a jab, so it's crazy fast regardless. He gets that, you get launched, and then he can combo you for 100+ damage against the wall. And on top of that, against the wall, he has some crazy wall pressure. He's also got an unblockable, unseeable, low launcher that tracks both sides. The only way to beat that is to hop kick it, or to backswing blow. Those are the 2 ways you could beat that. Otherwise, he's gonna connect, or rage art, obviously. But man, his unblockable low is some crazy, stupid bullshit, and he's always had that. And people are talking about, all the Yoshimitsu lovers are going to give me shit saying he's always had these tools. Guess what? He's not always had these tools in tandem with his Tekken shit. He's got crazy Tekken stuff now. He's got damage. He has good launchers. He has safe launchers. Down forward 2 is safe. He can deal out 100+ damage without effort. He can interrupt your offense. He can dictate the match in his favor because he has that ability with the moves that he has at his disposal. Most characters can't do that. That's why he belongs in S tier. In fact, I'm going to put him, I'll probably put him right there. Easy S tier character. Has all the Yoshimitsu gimmicks that make you go, what the fuck is going on right now? And make you scared to press buttons, but also has the Tekken shit to, while you're afraid of pressing buttons, he's pressing the good buttons and kicking the shit out of you the entire fucking match. And then you want to retaliate? Oh, I'm back to the Yoshi shit. Flash, you're dead. Yeah, fuck off. Yoshimitsu's complete shit. And he's amazing, but fuck, he's annoying. And Yoshimitsu players just suck, but they're just, this character is he carries you almost as hard as Hwoarang does, if not harder than Hwoarang does. This guy is like the ultimate carry character, in my opinion. This guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy. Jin, Dragunov, Hwoarang, Yoshimitsu. Those are like, in my mind, the top 4 most carry characters in the game. Yoshi is like the ultimate, though. Fuck, he will carry the shittiest players to Tekken Emperor. Easily. So, yeah. Fucking stupid ass bullshit. Feng is another S tier, and I think I'm gonna put him after his nerfs. He's probably around here. I don't really want to talk much about Feng. He's back turned. What was it? The heat engager power crush launcher from back turned after he does heat 3+4 is no longer a launcher. It just gives you an extra hit now. So they changed the heat in the heat dash property to it. so that you only get one follow-up, you don't get a full combo. Good. He needed to get nerfed. Feng was ridiculous, but he still dictates the match. He's still a very strong character. There's no question about it. Feng is... He's got some of the best lows in the game. He has a fucking 12-frame homing mid that poke that just keeps you in check at all times with back 4. His down forward 1 is insane. It's neutral on block, which means you go into down forward 1, somebody wants to press something, so they do jab, and then you do back 1, you trade with their jab, and then you get a shoulder follow-up. You can't really do your pressure. If you can't even jab check the character, that is a sign that they are dictating the match. You don't want to jab check Feng when he's running his offense. Joka is still fucking killing it with Feng right now. And I think that he's going to be top tier for the foreseeable future until we see some heavier nerfs on, like, his heat smash needs to stop wall splatting. His fucking heat 3+4 shouldn't be +9 on block. Man, his lows are so good. Down back 3 is so fucking strong. Full crouch down forward 4-1, is it? Like, that's a really strong move. He's got his Ken post stances that keep him the hell away from you at all times. So he's got natural built-in evasion, some of the best, if not actually the best evasion, natural evasion in his move list in the entire game. He just gets the hell away from you at all points, and then whiff punishes all your shit with his follow-ups. So Feng is, if you don't play against Feng properly, he'll fucking kill you. But he dictates the match, so you have to be better than the Feng player. You can say that about all the S-tier characters. You just have to be better than the player piloting the character. If you're piloting one of these characters and you lose, you got outplayed. Simple as that. Feng is no exception to that. But is he S-tier? You're goddamn right he is. He still has all the bullshit he pretty much had in the last patch. He has a couple of nerfs, but besides that, he's still just as strong, more or less, as he was before. And I don't think bitching about Feng's nerfs is even worth doing right now. So Panda I'm going to put at the top of B tier, I think, because she's stronger than these characters due to having everything Kuma has except shittier heat stuff, but her heat smash is now the highest damaging heat smash in the game. King's does 60 damage, and hers does 62 damage. So, only thing is, it floor breaks. It doesn't wall break, so it has less utility on stages for that reason. But it's still a pretty significantly stronger heat smash than it was prior to its buff. Her other heat technique, the jumping kick that Xiaoyu has, not the greatest move, not even remotely comparable to the electric, so Kuma is the better bear of the two by far. Those heat mechanics might just be two moves, but considering heat is 50% of every round, in that regard, I think you have to apply the differences to the bears, because for half the round, Kuma is exceptionally stronger than Panda, but I don't think she's quite as strong as anybody else on this list because she's still a bear and she doesn't have the electric and the broken heat mechanics. So, heavy chip damage, bad lows, super crazy heavy wall damage, and the ability to delete chip health, gray health. She can do that as well. Alisa, though, definitely a top tier character. I would put her probably top 5. Alisa is insane right now. She's not been touched at all in the patch notes, and her chainsaws are running rampant. She's got the up forward 1 chainsaw, which is +3. You can only deal with it by either ducking it on a read and then sidestepping it once the animation is over. It's got a lot of active frames though, so good luck doing that on reaction. Or you can sidestep it right, but then she's got other moves that will hit you from sidestep right. The 1 chainsaw move, back 2-1 in destructive mode, is ridiculous. That move is a mid into like the one where she swipes you to the right and then she comes down and she smacks you down with the other chainsaw and it goes mid, special low, special low, special low, or I guess a special mid in this game. But yeah, it's a bunch of fucking hits and it's crazy strong. Back 2-1 destructive mode there's no answer to it, really. You can't sidestep it. You just have to block it and then take your turn, and it's only -3 on block when it's all done, when the fucking move is done. And it's almost fully homing. Unless you're Lili, you can't sidestep the damn thing. So, she's with the destructive mode bullshit, she's insanely good. On top of that, her evasion naturally is crazy. Her legs are like bear legs. They're slightly further back in her natural standing position because of the position she naturally stands in. So you can't do things like on round start, if I want to down 1+2 with Kazuya, one backdash and she's out of there. You can do that against pretty much every other character from round start. One backdash won't get them out of there. She's out of there after one backdash. So it's really fucking impressive. She's super annoying. And her hurt box is next to Xiaoyu and Reina's, is the smallest in the game. So you can barely hit her with most of your combos to begin with because of her shitty little hurt box anyways. And then she controls the match by throwing chainsaws in your face for the whole fucking rest of the duration of the fight. She got a chainsaw move, I think it's forward 1+2, that does +5 and a bunch of chip. You know, she can do up forward 1 and just spam that all day if she really wanted to. Because you're not going to really duck her because the moves that she has with the chainsaw moves she has that are mids are really good. Very, very strong character. And I don't think that saying she's anywhere less than top 5 right now is a smart thing to do. Devil Jin is the worst character in the game right now, in my opinion. He's got his Demon Paw that has pretty shit tracking now, and it has there's no pushback, so you're just -8 in their face after that. So it's very much not as spammable as it used to be. He's got his launching Hell Sweep, but he doesn't really have any good mids to mix that with. And on top of all that, next to Kazuya, Devil Jin is the hardest character in the game to pilot. So you're basically piloting somebody, you're putting your blood, sweat, and fucking tears into this character and getting almost no reward for it now because Devil Jin's virtually useless. His Heat Smash has been nerfed into the fucking ground. It's very much not nearly as usable as it used to be. His heat mechanics are fine, but there's nothing really special to them compared to characters that get really good shit in heat. Like, Lars gets forward 3+4 in heat. Kuma gets the electric in heat. Fucking Shaheen gets that crazy guard break thing, that charge move in heat. Dragunov gets an unbreakable tackle. Devil Jin in heat doesn't really get it. He gets some laser extensions. That's it. And they're +2 on block, but they take a lot of heat bar. And then by the time you're done, you don't really have anything else to fall back on because his mids are pretty subpar, and his Hell Sweep is amazing, but it's also got really shitty range. And ducking against Devil Jin is probably the best thing to do against him. Just sidestep right into duck. You beat almost all of his moves. He's a very, very easy to counterplay character, and he doesn't have a lot of moves to avoid your counterplay. What Devil Jin is good at is setups. He's got probably the best setups in the game, but in order to abuse those setups, you need to be a Devil Jin specialist. And I'm fairly specialized in Devil Jin. He's my secondary next to Kazuya. I love Devil Jin. But you need to learn those setups. They're not just something you can pick up and play. You need to apply them over time and really learn how they work in a match. And that takes many, many hours of experience. Days, weeks even of experience of learning how these setups work and applying them effectively. And if you don't know Devil Jin's setups, he doesn't have a whole lot. Sidestep right into duck beats pretty much everything Devil Jin has. So, if he had some better mids, I would put him probably like somewhere up here. But because he has shit mids, with forward 4 and Demon Paw, those are his best mids. Demon Paw is great, forward is great, but, I mean, compare them to some of the moves that some of these characters have. Some of the mids some of these characters have. It's fucking crazy. Leo's down forward 2 is ridiculous. Lars' dynamic entry 3 is a spammable mid that you can just abuse at all times. You know? These characters, I mean, fuck, we don't even need to talk about their mids. They got a shit ton. But, I mean, fuck, even Azucena has wall running 3-2 still. It's +2 on block, but it's still a usable mid. It's still wall splats. You know, you still have to get a hard read to sidestep it properly. You know, Asuka has forward 1. If Devilchin had a move like Asuka's forward 1, he would be much higher on the list. One move, like her forward 1. But he doesn't have really any of that shit. So his mids are not scary at all. At all. They're just not. And because of that, you're not worried about anything. If he didn't have his while standing 2 to mix with his hell sweep that really high level Devilchin players can do effectively, then he would be fucking trash tier. I mean, he's already C tier, so he's still able to compete, because C tier is about as low as it gets in this game, and I think he's probably the only C tier character. But he has an electric, he has a launching hell sweep, he has a demon paw. You're already thinking, why the fuck is he bottom tier? He's got some of those best moves in the game. Sidestep right into duck will beat hell sweep. Sidestep right into duck will beat while standing 2. There's his 50-50 vortex gone. So, I don't know. I mean, and sidestep right into duck also beats demon paw and forward 4. So it beats his entire fucking move list. What the fuck do you want? What do you want? He needs a mid that beats sidestep right into duck. That's straight up all he needs, and then he'll be, and then you can say, yeah, he's a bullshit character, he's all the way over. You can start bitching about Devilchin. But no one should be bitching about Devilchin in the state that he's in. Like I said, you have to work your ass off as hard as you do with Kazuya, and you get hardly any reward. So, no, he is the second hardest character in the game to use, in my opinion, and he is by far the weakest for the amount of work you have to put into the character, which is why he's C tier, and he's the only C tier character. Lee is definitely high A tier. His counter hit game is on par with King and Steve's. In fact, you could say it might even be better than Steve's. Back 3-3 is insane. You can just do that and win pretty much with Lee. I gotta say, I'm disappointed in the direction they took Lee in this game, because not requiring the user to do his just frame inputs in Heat to get the just frame moves out is fucking sad, man. I don't know why they did that. But, I mean, I get it. It's a gimmick for Heat, but it takes all the intrigue off of Lee. His back 2 in combos is far easier to execute now. His 10-frame punish is arguably the best punish in the game, especially in Heat when you don't even have to input it properly. If you do anything that's -10, you're gonna eat 40-something damage right there, just because Lee, you know? So it's pretty nuts, the stuff that they did to Lee in this game. They gave him back 3-3, which is really fucking stupid. The biggest problem with Lee now is while running 3-4 being far too spammable. While running 3-4, I think I gotta fix this. You know what? Oh man, it's hard to say. While running 3-4, you can spam the shit. Fuck it. You can spam the shit out of while running 3-4. Because the second hit realigns, so you can't even really sidestep it. It's +3 on block. And there's no real counterplay. Sidestepping it, you get clipped. Doesn't matter which direction you step it. If you get a really perfect sidestep, it's possible to sidestep it. Sidewalk it, I mean. But if you just sidestep, you'll never be able to get away from that move. It's way too fast, and it clips you no matter where you step. It's just a ridiculous spammable move. I don't know why it's as good as it is. They need to make it far more linear, because that's all Lee players are doing now, is spamming while running 3-4, back 3-3, and then, you know, they're random shit. It's crazy. Lee players are very, very boring to watch now, because he's lost some of his identity in this game. Lee used to be one of the hardest characters in the entire franchise to pilot. In Tekken 7, you could argue Lee was the hardest character to pilot. You had to work your ass off, and the amount of damage you got for the amount of work you put into the combos and the practice of the character itself was minimal. It was virtually garbage. You got virtually nothing for the amount of work you put in. I respected Lead players in Tekken 7. I really did. But in Tekken 8, they don't need it to do half the work. The Just Frame shit is gone in Heat. While running 3-4 got heavily buffed, so all you gotta do is spam that shit. They gave him back 3-3, which is a very good low. His weakness before was that he had no good lows. Now back 3-3 is the best low he could possibly do. +4, it goes right into stats. Yes, if you get a read, you can duck it, but you have to duck it, then you have to duck the follow-up kick, then you have to get the launch punish. Like, it's a very hard move to counterplay. It's difficult to sidestep, too. Like, Lee is very, very, very strong in this game. And I'm not even listing all the shit that I could. Like, his extensions in Heat are insane. Top of A tier for sure. Right under Hwoarang. Easily. Zafina is A tier. Zafina is another character I dabble with. Don't do a whole lot with her, but she's, you know, I'm raising her in the ranks right now. I think I got her at Fujin or something. She's not that high, but she's very abusable while running 1+2, down forward 1 in Mantis stance and in Tarantula stance, 1-4 into Tarantula as a 10-frame punish for Zafina is +22 on hit. Then you go into down forward 1 for more plus frames into more offense. Zafina is kind of, her identity has been sort of sacrificed a bit. She used to be a very stance-heavy character with a lot of evasion built into her stances so that it was hard to hit Zafina, but she could hit you. However, if you knew how to deal with her stances and how to hit her appropriately with the character that you made, she had a hard time dealing with your shit, unless the Zafina player was really talented. That was the identity of Zafina, a very effective character if you're not aware of the matchup, but as soon as you know how to deal with Zafina, then she becomes sort of the one that's on the ropes, and the Zafina player has to outthink their opponent now. So, very interesting character. That's one of the reasons why I picked her up a few months ago, before she got heavily buffed. Because it's the same kind of thing as Kazuya. Effective character, but if your opponent knows how to deal with him, then it becomes a fucking nightmare, and you really need to know how to apply your offense properly, because he doesn't really have any gimmicks. She has gimmicks, and her stances have a lot of built-in natural evasion, but she didn't have a lot in terms of how to deal damage. Now, it's just completely not the case. She had a couple of plus frame moves before the patch. Now, down 3 is +5 on hit, and then she goes into Mantis stance for added pressure. I mean, she's got ridiculous, while running 1+2 being a homing plus frame high on block into Tarantula stance, into mix-up. It's just kind of removed. She's not supposed to have that type of frame pressure. So I've kind of stopped playing Zafina now because of that. She's a little too strong, in my opinion. She's not who she's supposed to be. So Zafina is extremely strong, can really pressure you all goddamn day, but still has her evasive shit in her stances. Has an amazing heat smash with 12 frames, and also has a low hitting heat smash at Scarecrow, which is a great thing to have for her as well, because her lows are typically not very good. But now that down 3 is +5 on hit, I mean, she's got great lows now. And insanely good mids. And very good tracking. And lots of pressure tools. And she's not that stance-heavy, evasive, trickery style character that she used to be. She's now pressure the fuck out of you and chip you to death, and you don't get a turn. That's basically Zafina. You really need to know your shit to deal with me. She's like pushing these types of characters bullshit, like almost dictating the match the way that she sees fit. You know what? I'm gonna fucking move her up for that. I don't know. I don't think she's as strong as Leo. Leo's got some crazy shit, but Zafina's really, really strong. She has some seriously good pressure tools. So, stuff that she's never had before. And they really, really overdid it with the buffs on Zafina. She got the most heavily buffed of all the characters in the game by far, and that's fine. She was like definitively bottom tier when the game first came out, up until patch 1.04 or 1.03. I don't remember when she got heavily buffed. I think it was 1.03. But she got crazy heavily buffed and then lost a semblance of who she was in the process. So Zafina players are happy that she's at least doing well now, but I know a lot of Zafina players, or well, know of some Zafina players, all four of you. Three out of four of you guys are not too happy with the state that she's in, even though she's super strong, because you miss your stance-heavy character. That had to be tricky and had to be smart. She doesn't need to be that now. Now you can unga bunga with Zafina, and she's got some crazy movement to top it all off. She has the second best sidestep in the game. She's an amazing backdash. You know, Zafina is just a great character. So, yeah, middle of A tier, high A tier, I guess you could say she is. Victor is a piece of shit. I don't like this guy, but he got nerfed, so let's put him right. I'm gonna put Victor right there. I don't even really want to talk about this guy. Wall running 2 got somewhat nerfed. You know what? It got nerfed. It got pretty solidly nerfed. I mean, he goes +5 into EI stance, so that's cool. +2 on block if he doesn't go into stance, which is a fair trade-off. His high heat smash got the same nerf that heat engager got the same nerf that Shaheen's did. He's kind of a bullshit character. I still think he's pure gimmicks. Victor players are. I honestly am surprised. The Victor players that I see now at like Tekken God rank are not that bad. They're pretty fucking good, I gotta say. Before the nerf, or before the nerfs that he got in the last patch, you were seeing Victor players in like Tekken King to Tekken God ranks that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Now, all the Tekken God Victors I'm seeing, Tekken Emperor Victors I'm seeing, are doing pretty friggin' good. There's strong players. And I think the nerfs are what Victor needed. It gave him more of an identity. His nerfs gave him what he needed. Her buffs removed who she was and gave her too much of what she needed. She needed a couple of moves to do what, like, 5 or 6 moves are doing now that she's just abusing. The Victor player is no longer able to just do random bullshit. Expulsion even got nerfed. You can sidestep Expulsion now. Jetzt. Wie heißt es auf Deutsch? Expulsion, you can do that now. So the fact that you can sidestep his Expulsion, his wall running 2 got nerfed, his high power crush heat engager got nerfed, back 1+2. That was it. He's pretty fucking interesting of a character now. He's still a very easy to use character, but he requires more thought now. So I'm more of a Victor fan now than I was before the patch. He's interesting now, but he's still very, very strong, and I think he belongs here. His lows are pretty trash, but down back 4, if it counter hits, it becomes an average low, becomes a really good fucking low. So I don't know. He's a pretty strong character. I think he deserves to be middle of A tier. Bryan is, like, you could put Bryan up here. Bryan is so good, man. Bryan is so strong. Bryan's taunt, no longer doing scaled damage, is a massive buff to Bryan that he should have always had that, because if you're a Bryan player and you can taunt into back 4 or jet upper, then you have everyone's respect and you deserve full max damage combo for that. That's insane that you're able to do that in match. And some players can do that. And the players that worked their fucking asses off learning how to do that shit got screwed over by this scale damage bullshit that Bryan had before the patch. Now they fixed his taunt and he has regular damage again. So it's awesome. Bryan, fantastic fucking shape in this game now. His taunt being back to the way it should be is great. His heat mechanics are okay. They're decent, I guess. His wall carry and wall damage is where he really excels at, though. Fucking insane wall carry and wall damage. So, if you're playing against Bryan, the trick is don't duck and sidestep right. There's your stay in his face, don't duck, sidestep right, and you'll do well against Bryan. But he still has really crazy fucking keep out tools with 3+4. He's got 1+2 as his homing move, so if you're trying to sidestep Bryan, he can always 1+2 your ass, and that shit sucks. He's got back 1 still, a great mid that is plus on block, and it's very linear, but it also counter hit launches still, as always. So I think Bryan's got some good shit. He's also got a decent parry mechanic in Heat as well. So, but his taunt being fixed is huge. And now, Soccer Kick always hits grounded no matter what. So you'll always have Oki follow up with Soccer Kick anytime you need it with Bryan. So, great character. One of the strong characters. I don't know if this, you know what, his execution though. To have him play at this level is a bit much. So let's put Bryan, I'm going to put him there. That's actually significant. Because these 3 characters and him are who I consider the 4 most difficult characters in the game. And the only 4 characters that, in my opinion, don't carry anybody at all. I mean, Bryan, you could argue, you could snake edge people in like yellow ranks, but at the end of the day, Bryan's not carrying you very far. Steve's not carrying you really at all. Neither is Kazuya and Deviljit. So those 4 characters are very, very strict. You need to really know your shit with those 4 guys. They are pure, fundamental Tekken at its utmost finest, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to watch a very strong Bryan, Steve, Kazuya, or Deviljit player. It is fucking poetry in motion, watching that on screen. I can't really say that about the majority of these other characters. You can say that about a really high-level Yoshi or really high-level Raven, but that's about it. Everybody else is pretty fucking boring in comparison for different reasons. But those, like, Bryan is... Any Bryan player who's exceptionally good at the game, like if you're a gold rank Bryan player, you've got my fucking utmost respect. Same with Steve and Kazuya and Deviljit. If you're a gold rank any of those characters, you have my utmost respect because those are the hardest characters to use. They have no bullshit at all. They don't carry you at all. They demand so much from you, and putting that amount of time into a character is, I can relate. I did it with Kazuya, so if you did it with Bryan, we're kindred spirits, and I feel you, bro. The execution required is what's keeping him from being in this area here. He's not that strong. I don't think he's as strong as Claudio because his execution is so demanding. So, Bryan to me sits right above Steve in the tier list. In A tier. Reina is gonna dethrone Hwoarang as top of the A tier because I don't think she's S tier, but she's certainly not low A tier. So Reina is the strongest Mishima, unless you want to count Jin, then he's the strongest right now. But Reina, as far as the true Mishimas go, Reina is the strongest by far. It's not even a competition. Kazuya and Deviljit have the superior 50-50s and the better hell sweeps, but that's it. Reina's got the best electric in the game, you could argue. Her electric is just as fast as Kazuya's. It doesn't track as well as Deviljit's does to both sides, but it's still, I don't know, it's as good as Kazuya's electric, so whatever. It's an amazing electric. Her hell sweep is, although it's not as good as Kazuya and Deviljit's, it's still fan-fucking-tastic because you get a 50-50 afterwards, and you're in Heaven's Wrath stance at +6. But the opponent is still standing. However, the hell sweep damage she gets is chunky as fuck. So, it really isn't that bad. If you hit them with hell sweep, and then you get your Heaven's Wrath mix-up after, they can't really do anything. You have so many options in Heaven's Wrath stats to keep them from doing anything. Moving, pressing buttons, ducking, whatever the fuck. So, Reina's got some crazy good shit. On top of that, 442, her Raiden punch is still really fucking good. You can step it more easily since the last patch, which is why I don't think she's S tier. She has way too many follow-ups afterwards that keep you guessing. And she has an option for everything that you're doing. If you're just dick jabbing her every single time, she can power crush you from Sentai, and then you're dead. Your dick jab won't recover in time, you eat the power crush, and then you go flying, or you get wall splat and you get comboed. If you try to jab check her every time, you're gonna eat Sentai 3, which is a scary ass move to eat. If you're just blocking all the time, then she's gonna get shit damage, she's gonna rush you down with more plus frames with Sentai 4, she's gonna do the low, Sentai 3 plus 4, you know, she can do Sentai 1 plus 2 into Heaven's Wrath stats, which is a ridiculous setup because if she's in heat and she does Sentai or 1 plus 2 into Heaven's Wrath and you try to retaliate with a jab check, her stance in heat is an automatic parry that just, if you try to jab check, she will eat your jab for like 50 damage or some shit. I don't remember how strong it is, but it's an insanely strong fucking parry, man. It's maybe 40 damage, but regardless, 40 damage even is insane. I think it's 40 to 50 damage. The fact that she has a down forward 2 and a hop kick as well, and she has all the Mishima gimmicks, and she has all the stance mix-ups, and she has the smallest hurt box in the game along with Xiaoyu, so she's hard to hit in general. And she has some amazing movement, and she has natural evasion built into her moves. 3 plus 4 jumps over lows, so it low crushes. And guess what? 3 plus 4, 4 in heat. Really fucking strong move that is very effective at every level of play because it barely uses much of her heat bar compared to, you know, how much she really needs, considering she doesn't have many heat moves besides that one and the heat smash. She's just got the kind of tools a character needs to help dictate a match. She is basically the one character I think in A tier that, like all these other characters in S tier, she dictates the match. And honestly, I think Hwoarang, you could say that about Hwoarang too. So these two in A tier and these guys in S tier, they dictate the match. It's hard to fight those types of characters who don't really give you much of a say. They don't let you really play Tekken because you're not really, you're afraid to run your offense due to the fact that Reina can prevent you from trying to do that at any point. She has the tools to do so. She has the movement, she has the hurt box, or the lack thereof. She has the auto parry in heat in Heaven's Wrath stance. She has a lot of moves that prevent you from wanting to press buttons, or approach her, or try to close the gap, or dash block. You know, Raiden is so fast that if you dash block, she could connect with it in between your dash block. It's not as slow as Devil Fist or Demon Paw. It's a 12 frame mid punch. It's so fast. So she can always keep you in check with that. Reina is insanely strong. You can argue she's S tier, but I haven't seen enough tournament performance from her lately to really say that. But, I mean, Joka did win the grand finals with this character before she got somewhat nerfed. So there is that. But, I mean, on top of all of that shit, she also has the unbreakable throws. So she's got a decent low set with Hell Sweep and Sidestep 4, and then she has unbreakable throws from Sentai stance and Heaven's Wrath stance, and then she's got a parry, an auto parry for mids and highs, which are the most commonly thrown out techniques in the game in Heaven's Wrath stance. She's got a Demon Paw, an Iron Hand in Heaven's Wrath stance. She has fucking Hunting Hawk, like what Heihachi had in Heaven's Wrath stance, that's plus on block. She's got a lot of pressure tools, a lot of ways to close gaps on you if you're trying to space her out, and a lot of ways to keep you from pressuring her back. So Reina, top of A tier, is honestly putting it lightly. I wouldn't be surprised if she moves up in a month. And finally, we're going to talk about Eddy. Eddy's an interesting one. I don't even know really where to put him, but he's doing pretty good in tournaments. Eddy, to me, is very unsafe. He has a lot of risk. There are a lot of strings he has where you can duck highs and launch him for it. A lot of moves leave him in minus 13, either in a while standing position or a standing position. Like 4-4-3 is a fantastic move that he can use to close the gap. It's a low, it's plus, it puts him into a mix-up position where you have to guess low or mid, but it's minus 13 on block, so if you get that move blocked, a lot of characters in the game can kill you for it. Kazuya can launch you for it, so I don't know. Eddy back 3-3 also got nerfed. Every character can launch that now. If you have a launching 15 frame mid, you can launch his back 3-3 now. So Eddy is good, and he's seen some tournament play, and he's doing fairly well in the online tournaments and all that. I know Spiro Jin is doing pretty well with Eddy at the moment in tournaments, but he is still fairly gimmick heavy of a character. His moves to threaten you require a little bit of setup. He does have some plus frame mids that will put you into a guessing game scenario. You can't really sidestep, you just have to guess. I can't remember what the fucking move was, but it's the one where he hits you down and then goes into negativa stats. Can't remember what the fucking move was. It's +5 or something, and it's a mid. It's a great move, and it makes it so you have to guess Hell Sweep or Heat Engager when he's in negativa stats. So he can force you into a scenario where you're guessing his 50-50. And in that scenario, I think because of that, I think he's strong. So, but I don't think he's as strong as Zafina, because he doesn't have as many pressure tools as she does. Lars and him are similar in that they both have that 50-50 guessing game bullshit with the +5 gimmick. So you guess either low or mid. But Eddy's is scarier for the opponent and scarier for you. His risk reward is, his Hell Sweep is launch punishable. But he does get an install for landing the Hell Sweep. If he lands 2 Hell Sweep installs, or then he gets double installs, and then he gets a boosted mid or a boosted low from his handstand stance. I think Eddy hasn't seen enough tournament performance to really say one way or the other, but Spirojin's doing pretty well with him, so I'm going to keep him right here, right underneath Lars. And there you go. That's where I think everybody is at right now. Dragunov is the best character in the game, and in my opinion, Deviljin is the weakest character in the game. But there's a shit ton of A tiers. This is definitely in order. I think this is appropriately in order. I wish I knew a little more about Claudio to say more about the character, but I don't. I just want to say one last thing. You could argue this also might be the case. Honestly, it easily could be. The S tier is supposed to represent the characters that dictate every round. You're afraid of their offense, they're not afraid of yours. They don't let you run your offense. Right? That's what these characters indicate. And in my opinion, Hwoarang and Reina both share that common trait with the rest of the S tiers. But I don't think they're as strong. I don't think they're strong enough to be considered S tier characters. And I think the reason for that is the lack of tournament representation. I swear to fuck that Hwoarang is S tier, but we don't have enough evidence to say that, so I'm going to keep him in A tier. I also swear to fuck that Reina is S tier, but again, lack of evidence to say that she's S tier. We don't have enough tournament performance, so the lack of a sample size forces me to make an educated guess based on the data sample I have from the thousands of matches I've had against them in online play, and studying the shit out of the characters in the lab. In my experience, these two are S tiers. But in the global aspect, I don't think I can put them there in good faith. Hey, I'm happy to see Kazuya in A tier. You could honestly bump him up somewhere if you really wanted to. I have him at the bottom of A tier because he's the hardest character to use. So, with that in mind, again, let me reiterate. If I was a robot and I could initiate 13 frame electrics on command every time I wanted them to come out, then Kazuya would be god tier. There's no question about it. He'd be in a league of his own above everybody else. But because I'm a human being and not a robot, I am limited to the capacity of human biology, which means I can only move my thumbs so fast, I can only be so precise, and I can only do that so many times before I fuck it up. And then I'll probably fuck it up a few more times before I start nailing it again. Because that's what human beings do. So in that that being said, I cannot put Kazuya higher on the list. He's too hard to use, and yes, he's very effective if used at his utmost capacity. He's very effective, but even now, in his top 8 tournament representation from Keisuke, who brought Kazuya to top 8 in EWC, he got destroyed immediately, and he was in loser's bracket when he got to top 8. So, to me, that says a lot. I don't know. He put on a brilliant performance with the character, and I love Keisuke as a player, but Kazuya is extremely hard to use. And you put him at the highest level of play, he becomes even more hard to use. So, there really is no argument in my mind. Kazuya being the hardest character in the game should mean that he's near the bottom of A tier. But he's not this level weak. He's not a B tier character at all. And he's certainly not C tier. That's strictly Devil Jin and that's it. As for Lydia, she's not out yet as of the making of this video, but I have a pretty decent feeling that if she's anything like the Tekken 7 release Lydia, she's probably going to be up here, right next to Dragunov. Maybe like this. I could see that happening. Because Lydia's untouched by any buffs or nerfs. They're putting her into the game as she is. It's gonna be scary. So, that's my tier list. That's where we're at right now. I appreciate everybody for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. And let me know if I left any important shit out. I would appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe, because the algorithm gets helped out, and the channel gets helped out in the YouTube algorithm when you hit the fucking like button. So thanks for doing that. Keep rocking out, and keep gaming.